Welcome to the Luna Lab, all things tech through the lens of Gen Z. I'm your host, Luna Leo, and I'm exploring what the hell is going on in this tech-saturated world I've been born into. Why are all of my friendships managed through social media? Why am I addicted to my phone? Why did my parents grow up with tree houses while I grew up with Minecraft? On this podcast, I investigate these questions and more. So turn off your apps, turn on your brains, and join me in the Luna Lab. What are you, an imposter or a crewmate? This sound may be familiar to you if you're over the age of 7 or you have a child who is, because it comes from Among Us, which is an online multiplayer deduction game developed and published by Innersloth, and was released in 2018 and has recently risen in popularity and has become the third most popular PC game. Among Us seems like a harmless game. A crew of 4 to 10 players is at a location doing tasks, while 1 to 3 imposters are doing everything they can to sabotage their efforts and kill them all. There are meetings when someone reports a dead body, or if a player presses the emergency meeting button. During the meeting, suspicious players are voted out, and the game ends if all imposters are killed. The amount of crew is the same as the number of imposters, or all of the tasks are completed. But is the game really designated for young children? The game has experienced chat bombings like the Loris situation, where the YouTuber spammed the chat with promotional messages for his YouTube channel, along with messages about who to vote for in the 2020 US election. After hacking the game, he did not apologize for his actions. Instead, he uploaded a video on YouTube laughing at people for being mad. As you might expect, many parents are questioning the safety aspect of the game after the incident. So Innersloth responded to the hacking of Loris on Twitter by saying they were unaware of the issue and were releasing updates to control the situation. And an Among Us programmer, Forrest Williard, tweeted on his Twitter on October 24th, quote, "Alright, wave 2 of anti-hacks are going out. Wave 1 did fix impersonation. This is why the prominent hack now is just chat spam and mass despawn. Wave 2 should fix both of these. We'll see where we need to go from there." Unquote. This means that the updates have reportedly resolved the hacking issues with impersonation and chat spam. But not all hacks have been blocked, and they will continue to update the game as more problems are revealed. So, if you're still worried about whether you encounter events like this, what should you do? It would be best if you only played private games with your friends and people you know, because as long as you're playing a public game, there's a chance of seeing inappropriate phrases being typed in the chat box. This is because during meetings, it's the only way for players to communicate, ask questions, present evidence, and vote to eliminate one member from the group. Additionally, you can take the idea of Among Us and play it in reality instead of on your devices. For example, for Halloween, my friends and I played Among Us in real life by doing a draw to pick out our roles, and the imposters learned about each other because they were the only ones who opened their eyes after knowing their identity. They had the whole school day to kill us and had a 30-minute cooling time between each kill. And we reported dead bodies through hand gestures when we saw each other in the hallways, and would have meetings during recess and lunch. This experience was quite fun, and many of us agreed that it was more amusing than playing it on our phones, especially when we knew who the imposters are, but the crewmates who were still alive didn't. It was both frustrating and funny. So my friends and I play Among Us in real life at least once a week. Another problem Among Us has faced is what should be the age restriction for this game. There's quite a bit of disagreement about this. For example, the Entertainment Software Rating Board recommends players be at least 10 years of age or older, while the Apple App Store says it is suitable for 9-year-olds and above. Meanwhile, the Pan-European Game Information Rating Board initially gave the game a 16+ rating, but later shifted it to 7+ after a rating audit revealed that the game was not nearly as gruesome or violent as initially believed after it became popular. This raises a question: did the age restriction change because it should actually change, or because Innersloth wants to expand its target market? I think there might be a slight chance of it being because they want to expand the age group that they can collect information on. The algorithm can learn about the user's favorite color and objects they like through the color they pick and the hat they choose for their avatar through this game. The algorithm will collect mass data on children from the ages of 7 to 13, which is something that the American market craves because the majority of them don't have social media. The data collected about them is relatively weak compared to teens who are over the age of 14. Additionally, when parents look at the game, it doesn't seem harmless at all, so of course they would allow the children to download it. So what's the point of having an age restriction? Some apps are designed for older people and adults. This can be due to the contents on the app, the data stored on the users, or it could be due to the aim of the app. For example, all social media apps like Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat all have a unified age restriction of 13 years old because young children can't understand the implications of their posts or effectively handle dangerous situations. However, no one follows this because once a child gets a hold of a device, they create an account on one of these platforms. For example, I created my first Instagram account when I was in grade 1, and so did many of my friends. So, should Among Us have a 7+ age restriction or 16+? Personally, I think it should be around the age of 13 because children below the age of 13 shouldn't be targets due to the minimal data about them. So, what are the implications of this? That our products for children are as less harmful as required for their product to sell? How would you feel if that was the case with milk or your kid's bike? What if the engineering power put into visuals and features was also put into the ethics of design? Unfortunately, the American market doesn't select for that, and so children are exposed or reeled into what market selects for them. They fall into the traps that the market creates in exchange for a fun little game. They are feeding the company's algorithm with information about themselves, so the information that's shown to them is more and more addicting. Additionally, when Western players are fawning over Among Us, Chinese players are playing the game Space Werewolf, which is basically an Among Us clone, but has made the characters a lot cuter to fit the target customers. And most importantly, you'll experience 2 different versions of the game depending on your age. So how does this work? Once you open the app for the first time, the app asks you what your age is and places you in the minor version or adult one depending on your age. The game ensures that you're not lying about your age, but asking you to enter your identification card information, which every citizen has. This step's not that much additional work when it comes to the programming side, but it's incredibly important to have. This demonstrates how the Asian market values the safety of its minor users and does not expose them to as many addicting and manipulative factors as users in the American market are. Among Us demonstrates to us how the industry craves information and is an example of the phenomenon of wanting something you used to not have. They are now delving into children, a population that used to be deemed untouchable. And Space Werewolf shows a flaw in Among Us, and at the end of the day, Among Us could have prevented it from stealing a significant amount of its market by doing what ByteDance did with TikTok. They made a version for the Western world and another app for the Asian world because of different standards. This may be because very seldom does any game in the American market put any consideration into the consequences into their apps. They just wait until they're in trouble for it. When it seems like if they really wanted to know, then they would have a department as powerful as the engineering department to figure that out. And this isn't necessarily the tech company's fault either. It's how the market works. I don't know of any solution that doesn't also dilute the quality of amazing aspects of the apps. There probably needs to be a culture change in order to fix this. You've reached the end of another episode of the Lunar Lab. For more information, please check out lunarlabpodcast.com and follow me on Instagram at lunarlab.podcast.